Welcome back to Pima Voices. My name is Savannah and I'll be your host. Today I'm connecting with Fabiola Bedoya, who is the founder of Tucson Creative Comadres and also a Pima Community College alum. Hi Fabiola, how are you?
Hello, Savannah. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm very excited to have you here today. I know who you are and I love you as a human and I think you are a huge asset to the Tucson community. But for people who don't know who you are, would you like to give us a little insight and background on yourself?
All right. So I was born in Mexico, raised in Arizona my entire life. So I actually always knew that I was a creative from very young, but kind of battled and kind of knowing what I could do with it. So I came into the arts actually with music and then transitioned into photography. And into my professional career, I actually studied photography as my major at the University of Arizona. And then kind of transition more into the political space and knowing how funding for the arts and culture kind of happens and who in leadership is, working towards bettering that for the community. I consider myself a community-focused advocate, so I love to learn about organizations, connect people with resources, and empower my Latinos to just be them best selves.
And that's why I think you're a huge asset to our community because I know a lot of your stuff is very Latino based, but you're still very open and welcoming to many community members. And even myself as someone who is of Hispanic origin, I don't always feel connected to that side of myself, but you're always come on down, let's do it, come join us, because you're just so welcoming in your spaces. And I think that's super important, not even just in Tucson, but just everywhere. But I love Tucson as a whole, and I think that's what makes you so special is you always have such an inviting space. But if we backtrack a little bit, so you did start at Pima. And I know you did Associates of Arts, which led you to the U of A, but you did do interior design, I think, here, and they did have it. Sadly, they don't anymore, but that's okay. So, tell us a little bit, why you chose to come to Pima first over, the university.
So I actually never really thought about college after high school.
It's okay. I didn't either. I came very last second. I was maybe I should go.
Yeah. So my first thought was actually go to beauty school. But my mom did not approve. So I went straight to work after high school still. And it wasn't until my boss at my job was I think you should approach community college, take some classes, just one at a time, kind of get a feel for it. So that's who actually led me to Pima to begin with.
Wow. Well, that's kind of nice. Hey, let's take a little stepping stone here. And, we both have seen the college kind of change and evolve over time. I'm sure you could say it too. We both love the arts and things have changed and so forth. And this is what I find you so special as well, is you're just such a huge advocate too for the arts and making sure that does get funded, which is I'll say it is an issue. Arts doesn't always get funded. It is thought about last a lot of times, which is, to me, a little sad because arts is everywhere. It's in everything. It's in food. It's in music. It's in this room. It's everywhere. It's interior. It's nature. And it's such a special place in many people's hearts. And so we have you to kind of help bring some, community awareness and openness to helping people in the arts community. And so I know you created Tucson Creative Comadres, and tell us a little bit about that for those who don't know, because I know what it's about and you know what it's about. So let's have some more people in the community understand what that is.
So Tucson Creative Comadres is a community group that is focused on, collaborations with cultura, so with culture. all about bringing small business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives, artists, and creative spirits together in a space to kind of learn about different fields. Now it's been so I will bring in guest speakers in different sectors and have them talk about their expertise and how it connects to our community, and how we are all intertwined. But it really got started kind of like in the back of my head once I transferred from Pima to the U of A. I was doing a lot of, I guess you could say, surveying students and asking them what their plans were after college, after a 4-year degree. And I kept getting the same kind of responses, like, I really don't know what I'm going to do. Probably go to grad school and get a job that way, or who knows. So it was really through that I started just gathering information, and kind of realizing that at the time that I was at the U of A, it wasn't really providing like a small business owner kind of aspect to the art school, which is essentially what you are as an artist. You're like promoting yourself, you're marketing yourself. So it was really through my college experience at the U of A that led me towards looking into entrepreneurship and getting to know more of the small business community and artists, creatives here in Tucson. So this was back like 2017, 18. So quite a while ago. That's how it first sparked.
Well, it all starts somewhere. But it's funny that you mentioned too, about like students wanting to go to grad school and then get a job. I've heard that so many times. So like, here at Pima, when I did my fashion design certificate and then got my A, my teacher, like Nancy Spalding, she was really supportive and like, let's get your brand going, let's get started, let's do it. And so I really loved that in that specific department because she was just so supportive of like, let's go ahead and get the brands and like, let's go, you got this. And so I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. And then you kind of just don't know what else to do after. And I think at the time I didn't even realize too, like Pima does have a center for like entrepreneurs and business assistants, but no one really talked about it. And so you're just like, okay, like I did it, but like now what, And then I've gone back to school and the big question is, what are you going to do now? And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I feel like it's so hard to get a job in the arts. And like you said, we are entrepreneurs. Like the whole purpose of an art, like not the whole purpose, but let me rephrase that. Like being an artist, you are marketing yourself because you're creating art to share with other people. And so, November this is like another reason why I brought you on. November is like Entrepreneur Month, And so speaking on that topic, having this as a outlet for community members like that you've created with Tucson Creative Comadres is like, I think it's just so important because, there's not always the resources that you're looking for sometimes in your college career. And I know like it's getting better. Like right now at the U of A, they have a student-made program for those who are entrepreneurs, and they have Forge, which I believe is called Startup Wildcats now. So they're changing that narrative, and it's coming along. But at the time you were at school, it wasn't there. And so, like, it's taken a while, but I'm glad that you had this idea because it's needed, and you sought it, and then you're like, let's do this. And I know you have a large group of supporters who come to your meetings. I've never been to one because I've always been too afraid. And I don't know why, because like I say, you're so inviting. But I'm always like, I'm not Hispanic enough. It's just such a silly, silly statement. But that's just like an insecurity on my part. But I invite everyone to check out what you have to offer because it is engaging, it's informative, and it's community building. And so I think it's awesome. Like I said, like you're such an asset to the Tucson community. You may not see yourself in that way, but I hope you do because I know there's a lot of people in the community who look up to you. Don't get me started. I'm all like, no.
Try not to cry.
But I think it's true. Like, especially in arts, like it's hard. And like, I feel, my journey here at Pima was really important to me. It was a huge pivotal moment in my life and in my art career. It's definitely not the same at a university level. And I know, like, from what you said, you kind of experienced that And so I know like a lot of students here, they like the programs that they're in here, but you just created another way for people to get more support and more help and more guidance, and I love it. I could go on and on and on, but you know, do you think too? I think sometimes as well that, you know, being someone who's Latina or Hispanic oriented, there's not always the same resources available to you. So do you think that's another aspect of why you created Tucson Creative Comadres?
Honestly, yeah, entirely. I kept going, again, this was quite a few years ago. I kept going to different meetups that happened with entrepreneurs, and there was always artists missing. It was also a very particular demographic, so I never could really fit in, just because I was trying to build something from scratch and not having money lent out to me, or having someone in my family who was already doing something or trying to start something. I didn't have any of that. So that's also why I decided to focus on my community, because I knew if I was feeling, you know, like alone in this like creative artist space, that there was other people just like me out there. And I just wanted to bring them together, because there's a sense of community over competition that I'm really passionate about, because there's enough room for all of us to thrive here in Tucson.
There is, and like you make a very valid point. When you do go to some of these Tucson events, they're very the same artists that are featured every time, or certain demographic every single time, and you're just like, where's the diversity, which is sometimes hard to find in many areas, not just arts, but in many areas. And so, you know, having something that is very Latino based is important, especially in a community that is very Latino-centric, I would say. I'm surprised something hasn't been brought up sooner or created sooner. And so one might say you're ahead of your time, but honestly, you're just trying to catch up and offer what's available to other people that's already been out there. So do you have any like events coming up right now, or do you have things like in the works that possibly that you're thinking of?
I definitely, the bigger idea picture would probably somewhere down the road turn this into a nonprofit to be able to take advantage of grants and be able to help more people on a bigger level. But right now, with it being an election year and also having a job that involves the election, I also realize my capacity, I'm one person.
Yes.
So also having that, there's a lot of artists, creatives, and makers. Their busy season is fall through spring. So I also know that this is kind of like the time to take a little bit of break and regroup on the previous meetings that have happened, and just kind of see what worked, what didn't, and try to rework and maybe have something for the holidays a little bit later down the road, just something fun, and then regroup probably about May.
Well, you know, being an artist yourself and understanding the timeline of everything, that also just shows like how important this is to you, and you know not to rush things, and you know like this is an important aspect, not just for you but for other people, and so you're just respecting that timeline, which is awesome, because I do wish, and I am hopeful that this will be something greater. Not that it's not great now. It's going to be even more awesome in the time to come. But as an entrepreneur and artist yourself, and someone who's Latina, what advice would you give to anyone in the Tucson community who is an artist, or, you know, a Latino artist here in town?
Honestly, just with any, you know, underrepresented, you know, community, is just be yourself and tell your story, because your story is something that can create a lot of opportunities for others to see themselves, which is what's needed. So really hone into your story and use that to fuel your art, your creative passion, because we need more of that. We need diverse voices. And even if you don't come, you know, from a underrepresented community, like still use your story and your voice to put out there what's good for the greater good, and not always look at me, but look outside yourself into how you can help, be it with photography, with art, creating spaces for those, even just your younger self, that they would have wanted. Yeah.
No, that's perfect. I think everything that you say is very, I wouldn't say calculated, but you have very thought process behind it. And so I hope people take your advice into consideration. I think, I love the art community. I'm just like, I could just go on and on and on forever. But I am thankful that I have met you, and I do get to know you. And so that's why I wanted to bring you on here today, and just knowing like your journey and everything. And then someone too who wasn't even thinking about maybe coming to college, like you still came to the community college. And so, was it your instructor at the beauty school you said, or your boss or your manager?
At my job,
Yes,
yeah.
your job. So she gave you advice to maybe try community college. So what would you say to someone who is experiencing, like, maybe I don't want to go to school, I don't know? How could you pass along similar advice to someone today?
It's really college is to put yourself out there, try different things, tap into different communities and opportunities that are really only available when you are a student, that I feel a lot of individuals either just don't know about or don't seek out. And it's really about finding out who you are yourself. It doesn't matter what age you are. You could have a divorce. You could be right out of high school and just need to regroup with yourself. And classes at Pima Community College are accessible. There's a variety from online. There's in person, so you can build community that way, and you can just try out different things and slowly work towards, an associate's degree or a certificate that's also very easy to complete a lot of the time. So it's just baby steps.
Yeah, and I think too, like the narrative of community college is changing. I think people looked at it of like, oh, I only go to community college because I'm gonna, I can't afford to go to university, or, it is just my transfer pathway. But while it could be a transfer pathway, that is totally fine. It could also just be your stepping stone to what you want to do next. So like you said, it's about discovering yourself, maybe starting over. And now there's so many more options. And I'm like, do I need to go back to school again? Like, I kind of already am in school, but do I need to pick a different career? Like, it's so exciting to see that narrative changing and those options changing and being accessible and available. And having all the different campuses, I think, is super important as well to reach everyone in different communities around Tucson. And so, I hope what people take from today is to be yourself, try new things. Don't be afraid to ask for help, too. There are resources out there. And be true to who you are.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to add to our conversation today?
Other than thank you so much for having me, Savannah. And I love seeing all your creativity, especially in your outfits. Hopefully you guys see this. I love your creative passion that you showcase every single day.
Thank you. Honestly, I'm just thankful I just know you as a human. And you're always just like a really great friend. You're super supportive. And if you guys don't know Fabi, like, you need to know Fabi. I'm telling you right now. And I'm sure there's going to be people watching who are going to be like, yes, Fabi all the way. So I am so excited to have had you on here today as someone who is a fellow art student, and just someone who's just a huge advocacy for change in our community overall, and not even just in arts. There's many areas that you advocate for, and, not just entrepreneurs and things like that. So I wish you all the best. I know I'm going to keep seeing you. I'm like, this isn't the last time. But, I just thank you for coming on and sharing everything you had to say. And hopefully this reaches the right audience, and then you could help other people in the community and engage with them. So I'm super excited to see what more you do, because I know I know you're going to do big things for sure. She's going to be mayor one day, you guys.
I'm going to go cry in the bathroom.
So, thank you again for your time today.
Thanks.
And yeah, so if you guys have any questions about the arts, about the business hub at Pima, if you want to know more about Tucson Creative Comadres, I will put Fabiola's information in the description. And anytime at the foundation, there are many of us who are available to answer any questions about what is offered here at the college, and we can connect you with the right person to get your college career journey started or continued. Until then, I will see you guys next time. Thank you.